This happened late last summer, when I was desperate to escape the same four walls I'd stared at ever since my apartment lease renewed itself on autopilot. My friend Marcus had recently inherited his uncle's old Class C RV, rusty, cramped, and smelling faintly of mildew. But I jumped at the chance to slip away for a couple of nights under the stars. It was a Thursday afternoon when we piled 2 duffel bags, a cooler of pre-made sandwiches, and enough cheap flashlights to light a small village into the back of that rattling motorhome. By the time we left the last strip mall behind, the city's bustle had faded, replaced by endless fields of corn and distant clumps of pine. The sun was sliding toward the horizon, painting the sky in bruised purples and gold when we finally turned off the asphalt onto an overgrown dirt track marked only by an old "Campground Ahead" sign, half smothered in vines. If you're loving the tension so far, hit that like button and ring the bell so you never miss a true camping nightmare. We found a clearing ringed by oaks and cedars, the remnants of some long-forgotten summer retreat. Collapsed picnic tables, rusted fire pits, and a sagging wooden bathhouse that looked straight out of a horror movie. Marcus killed the engine, and the RV's hissing exhaust went silent, leaving us alone with the chirp of cicadas and the sharp snap of twigs beneath unseen feet. I set up our folding chairs by the hitch, and Marcus wrestled with the generator, cursing under his breath every time it sputtered and stalled. When the lights finally flickered on inside, they revealed peeling wallpaper printed with sunflower motifs and a sagging vinyl sofa that had to have been there since the Reagan administration. We laughed about how lucky we were, but our voices sounded hollow in the gathering dusk. Don't forget to subscribe if you want more real-life horror stories like this. Your support keeps us digging up the darkest tales. Dinner was a pair of cold chicken sandwiches and granola bars eaten under flickering LED lanterns. The air turned cool, and shadows stretched long across the cracked asphalt. That's when we first heard it. 3 sharp knocks against the RV's rear wall, like someone pounding on a door too stubborn to open quietly. Marcus froze mid-chew, his eyes locked on the back window. "Probably just a deer," he muttered, swallowing hard. But deer don't knock with jerky rhythm, and they certainly don't creep around metal walls, ears flattened. I stood up, peered into the gloom beyond the windshield, and saw only the trembling tree line and a single beam of our lantern catching floating dust motes. I shrugged it off, tried to laugh it off, as the wind picked up, sending branches tapping against the RV's roof like fingernails. If this had you on edge, share it in the comments and let me know what you'd do in our shoes. We retreated inside to bed around 10. The narrow bench seats folded down into something resembling a mattress, and I reached for my phone. No bars, of course, before drifting off. I woke somewhere after midnight, chills prickling up my spine despite the warm summer air. The RV's interior light was out, but my eyes adjusted to the pale glow from a cracked window. That comforting jumble of pillows and blankets was gone. The mattress, stripped naked, shoved to one side with the sheets balled up in a heap. My heart slammed. I flicked on my flashlight and found muddy footprints leading from the rear door across the thin carpet to where we would have been sleeping. They were too large to be ours, and bare, no shoe treads. I shook Marcus awake, his groggy head lolled into the flashlight beam. We stared at the tracks, frozen. Smash that subscribe button now. There's more chilling content just ahead. Then came the slow scrape of something sliding across aluminum. The kitchen cabinet under the sink creaked open. Old cans of beans rattled against the metal shelf. I squeezed Marcus's arm and, in one motion, snatched the small butane stove as a makeshift club. I edged toward the kitchenette, the beam of my flashlight shaking with every step. Nothing was there. I circled back, my breath ragged, and that's when I saw it. The door between the cab and living area inching open, just enough to cast a vertical sliver of moonlight across the linoleum. I pressed myself flat against the wall and watched as the door eased wider. No one stepped through, but the gap widened until it was an arched mouth of shadow, trembling. Want more scary adventures? Don't forget to click that bell icon so you're first to know when new nightmares drop. My pulse pounded in my ears. Every instinct screamed to run, but adrenaline had me rooted in place. The wind outside died, and in that unnatural silence, I thought I heard breathing. Deep, ragged, human. I grabbed Marcus by the shoulder and whispered, "We need to get out." His eyes were wide, pupils dilated in the beam of my phone light. Instead of arguing, he followed me back to the cab. I bolted for the driver's seat, slammed the door, and locked it twice. Marcus fumbled with his phone, dialing 911 in whispered paces until we heard the distant drone of an engine revving. We blew out the small blower fan that powered the cabin lights, plunging everything into darkness except for the sliver of moon through the windshield. If you've made it this far, hit like one more time, and let's see if we can reach 1,000 likes on this video. We huddled on the bench seat by the steering wheel, cradling the butane stove like a talisman. Every creak of the RV, every shift of the frame, set our nerves on edge. Minutes stretched into agonies. Then, in the far distance, 2 headlights bobbed through the trees, bright and purposeful. The squeal of tires on gravel split the silence, and I threw open my door, waving until the beams swept over us. 2 squad cars rolled up, lights flashing, sirens silent but urgent. I spilled out my story in fractured sentences. Footprints, mattress moved, cabinet open, partition door sliding. The deputies moved with practiced calm, shining spotlights under seats, tapping on cabinets, prying open every compartment. They swept the perimeter, calling for backup. The morning mist curled at the treetops as dawn crept in, and still they found nothing but our own tire ruts and broken twigs. No sign of forced entry, no dropped items, nothing to explain the footprints or the noises. A deputy finally shrugged and muttered about pranksters with too much time on their hands. He pocketed his flashlight and handed us a business card for the sheriff's office. Take a moment to hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Your support helps keep these stories alive. We left the RV in their custody, our stiff limbs aching from crouching in that cab all night. As we drove away onto the dirt road, I glanced in the side mirror. The RV's back window caught a flash of movement, brief but unmistakable. A lone figure standing just inside, shoulders slumped, head tipped forward, before vanishing into the thinning mist. Marcus didn't see it, but I did. I watched until the road swallowed the forest, and even then I couldn't shake the image. If this gave you chills, leave a comment below with your own worst camping experience, and remember to subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, where your fear meets the unknown and your imagination comes to life.